Hey, Mark here. So these episodes originally were released on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, but I love these episodes. I love talking with Jay about movies that either are directed by Renny Harlin or they feature aquatic sea beasts. I mean, they're some of my favorite conversations. Also, we've brought in some A-plus guests, and we just had a great time talking about these movies on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. So I figured if you haven't listened to these yet, I would include them as a bonus episode on Movies, Films, and Flicks because I just enjoy the conversations. I think they're worth listening to, and I think you're going to like them. So after you listen to these episodes, if you dig them, go check out Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, or just look out for more. And thanks once again for listening to Movies, Films, and Flakes. I really do appreciate it. There's like 2.7 million podcasts out there, and I'm honored that you spend the time listening to Movies, Films, and Flicks. So enjoy this. If you like it, make sure to go to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, and check out all of our episodes, which break down Deep Blue Sea 1, 2, and 3. They're insane. Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark Tommy Gun Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay Barbed Wire Shooter Cluett. And this is Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. On this show, Mark and I have covered the entire Deep Blue Sea trilogy, one DVD chapter at a time. Head back and listen to all of those episodes if you want. And we're now looking at Deep Blue Sea adjacent films, which is films featuring sharks, or aquatic action, or directed by Renny Harlin, as is the case with today's episode on Prison. What is Prison? What is Renny Harlin's second film, following on just a year after Born American. It was released in 1987, and it's, as you might imagine, set around a prison, in which an inmate was electrocuted in the 60s, and we flash forward to the late 80s, where Viggo Mortensen is a young prisoner who, with a bunch of other people, was shipped to this dilapidated old prison to kind of help do it up, but also serve time in it. And whilst they're there, hilarity ensues. Things go awry. Lane Smith is the warden, and there might be some kind of spiritual old prisoner who's out for his blood. We'll see. Also features Tom Everett, Kane Hodder, and Tommy Lister round out this incredible cast of this film. So, Mark, let's get into it. Prison, what do you think?
I mean, listen, this is obviously a wonderful calling card that got him the job for Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
100%.
And also, too, before we get going, you normally save this for the end, but I really want to hear this because I saw so many similarities. Can you do the similarities to Deep Blue Sea right now, just so we can talk about some of those?
Absolutely, I can indeed. Yeah. Well, I mentioned it was a year after Born American.
Yeah.
That these two films have the same ending, basically, of trying to escape a prison. But yeah. So okay. This is going to throw me off kilter for the entire rest of the episode, but fine, we're going to go with it. So the film opens with the point of view of a prisoner, which in Deep Blue Sea is a shark.
Yep.
Here is
he loves prisons.
Yeah, exactly. It's obviously directed by Renny Harlin. There's a prominent crucifix necklace throughout the film. There's flooded underground corridors.
Yes.
There's a body on an operating table that comes back to life, which in this is in a dream sequence, and in Deep Blue Sea is a shark. There's an electrocution death. The main facility is an old place that's been repurposed for something else. Breaking windows. One character is burned alive like in an oven. Which tries to happen with Preacher. There's a discussion of a poker game. There are very Rabbit's escape sequence. He's going on like similar walkways to the entirety of Aquatica, with like the metal grids. There's a religious character who prays a lot. Inmates are killed during an escape attempt. Here, humans in we see sharks. The character looks at a Playboy magazine.
Yes.
The prisoners are stripped down to their underwear for a scene, and there's a climactic explosion. Is my list of how this film is like Deep Blue Sea.
And there's also a shot of feet in the water, bare feet stepping into the water, which makes me, you said flooded corridors, but I saw that and I'm like, oh my gosh, this movie, you have Born American in this, prison escapes, and then this one, a vengeful spirit is knocking people, like killing people, and then here you have a shark who are vengeful at their creators, trying to kill people. I don't think Forsyth was trying to escape. But I love it. And then the cross, I just sat here, I just was so happy watching this movie. I mean, it's scrappy beyond all belief. Like, they went and shot this in Wyoming. they didn't have enough extras, so they brought in actual prisoners. They shot it in 35 days. And it's so scrappy, but it looks great. The cinematographer, Mac Ahlberg, he did Reanimator and Ghoulies. Like, this was an established cinematographer. And then I've been looking at all the people who did the special effects. So, like, Michael Deak, he was the on-set special effects guy. He worked on Tron Legacy, The Pacific, like the Halloween movies, The Island. He's a Michael Bay guy. He did the special effects for House of a Thousand Corpses. And then back in the 80s, he was working on From Beyond. He was working on, like, Evil Spawn, Ghoulies. And you just look at the talent. Like, they had John Carl Buechler, who also is just a giant name in special effects, working on this film at the time. So you have Renny Harlin, Viggo Mortensen, the entire special effects crew, Mac Ahlberg, who shot the Brady Bunch movies. You just have this scrappy, and Tiny Lister I thought was really good in this movie.
He's great.
You have this, like, he's kind of his Dark Knight role too, where he's trying to calm everyone down.
Especially towards the end when they're during the riot, he's like trying to mediate everything, and then they just shoot him in the chest, and he goes nuts on a guy.
13 years, all I learned how to do was cut meat with a spoon. But it's
he picks up a guy and just throws him to the floor to death. That guy does not get back up again.
If one guy could do it, it would be Tiny Lister. And it's
Absolutely.
just, this movie just makes me so happy because, you talked about it with Born American, with Renny Harlin getting his start. Like, this is a guy who was knocking out, he filmed a movie in Finland, dropped it off at, like, everywhere he could find, got some money, shot that, and then he just walked around, like, begging for money. He got this job, and they shipped this guy from Finland in his first, like, English language feature to Wyoming to make a movie. And it just works so well. And what I love, too, is John Levengood, who's John's Horror Corner. He wrote, like, one of the funniest lines in this. Let's see, where did he write? He wrote one of the funniest lines. So on his review for this movie, he wrote, the bonkers movie culminates with a throne-like electric chair erupting from the ground with an Electro-Zombie of vengeance seated atop, who then blasts lightning at his offender. Like, I love it. It's an Electro-Zombie of vengeance.
Yeah, there are some fantastic kills and fantastic sequences in this, which is always stuff I enjoy. So yeah, I'd never really heard of this film before. Obviously looking into the podcast and looking for future Deep Blue Sea adjacent films, it came up as being Renny Harlin. But if I'd never done that, I don't think I would have come across it. And it's great. It's absolutely a calling card for Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Just the death sequences alone, like Rabbit's death up in the rafters with the pipes closing on him, and he can't move, and a pipe going through his head is just delightful.
Oh, beautiful. And it reminded me a lot, the death with the barbed wire reminded me a lot of Final Destination type kills, where you just have certain lighting situations. He grabs a magazine, he sits, and then of course, in true Renny Harlin fashion, you don't just kill a guy with barbed wire, but you shoot him through the ceiling and into the warden's office. So, like, it's beautiful.
And he's not even being like, if he tells somebody, okay, this guy gets killed by barbed wire, you're gonna think, okay, the barbed wire strangles him or something. But no, the barbed wire snakes around the room, gets his shotgun, aims it, shoots at him, and barricades the door, and then it straps him down to a chair, garrots him, and then shoots him up through the floor, electrocutes him. It's when the barbed wire started snaking, I just thought, okay, I know what's going to happen here. He's just going to snake around his neck, and it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And that is part of it. But it shoots him. Barbed wire shoots a guy. Name me any other film where barbed wire shoots somebody.
And didn't it make? I just wanted to pick somebody up and run around with them while watching this scene because it's such vintage Renny. It's so over the top, and it goes his movies. They go like 3 steps extra with the kills, and I adore that. Like, hey, we're gonna have a chase scene. Yeah, put Jaina Davis on ice skates. Like, it's bonkers, and I absolutely just adore this movie. And what's crazy though? This movie has a good cast. This isn't schlock. This isn't. And you know what's interesting too? I was reading a review for this, and I really liked this review where it said this isn't one of those types of movies where it's teenagers getting killed or it's co-eds. These are just prisoners. Like it's really it's a different type film. And I don't know, like going to Wyoming and shooting in that rundown prison. I mean, it looks pretty good too. So I adore this movie. It makes me very happy watching Viggo Mortensen try to play like a James Dean character. It's
little baby Viggo. I never seen him so young. This is pre-daylight Viggo Mortensen. So everything is compared to daylight. I was a little concerned when Lane Smith is top billed, because I don't know about you, but growing up I watched quite a bit of The Adventures of Lois and Clark, whatever that was called.
Yeah.
Lois and Clark.
Yeah, Lois and Clark.
Where he's Perry White, and so I was expecting to find it difficult to look past the Perry White persona, because he was pretty much my favorite part of that show. Was every time Lane Smith popped on screen doing an Elvis impression or just having fun, because he was a very comedic character in that show. But I got past that immediately. He is fantastic in prison. He's got such presence. He's clearly the bad guy immediately. Yeah. He's an arse to everyone. Just gets kind of progressively worse over the course of the film. But I think he has such a great performance in this.
Very stressful. While watching him, you feel stressed out. He's just I love too when he burns all the mattresses. He makes everyone strip down for cavity searches. He goes, "If you need me, I'll be in my office."
He deals out the punishment and then checks out.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know what? In classic Renny Harlin overcomplicated fashion, you have him in here, and then so you have Lane Smith, who is Warden. Let's see,
Ethan Sharp.
Yeah, Sharp. And then you also have Croesus in here. Yeah, and then you also have Burke or Forsyth, who looks like Forsyth, who was electrocuted. And then you have Chelsea Field running around looking at printouts that say the prison's going to die. And it's just, and then you have machine guns, and then it's all over. There's a weird subplots that aren't necessary in this movie. Like you don't even need that guy who has there's that big guy who asks Viggo for help and he gets his balls grabbed. Like, you don't even like you don't even need him in this movie. And it's just, I love how they just keep loading on subplots on top of subplots on this horror movie, and then there's a redemption tale and red herrings, and it's just it's classic Harlan. It's beautiful,
and it's overcomplicated, but also kind of underexplained, which for a horror adjacent film is okay. We don't need explanations, but we're told that Viggo Mortensen's character Burke looks like the young is it Charlie Forsyth? I think was the guy who was killed. Who is played by Kane Hodder in the few scenes that he's played by. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface.
An Electro-Zombie.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so we're told he looks like this guy, but that's as much explanation as we're given. There's no, that just seems to be a coincidence. Yeah. He happens to look like him, and so he happens to be brought to this prison, because there's a whole climactic sequence where I'm like, what is the goal here? What are they trying to do? Where Viggo Mortensen and the Croesus have kidnapped the warden, and they're trying to get out just because Croesus doesn't want to die in the prison. But that's the only kind of it's I kind of stopped trying to work out, but why? How does he know he's going to die in the? It's just kind of spooked by things. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense, but I mean, he's a prisoner who wants to go out of prison. Fine, that's the plot of a lot of films.
Cars are old. This prison's old. I can get out of here. Not a problem.
Prison's just a series of locks.
Yeah. This place is old. And why didn't he just kill? Why didn't he just wipe out Sharp? Because Sharp and Croesus are the ones who killed him, but instead he's going after Rabbit. He's going after prisoners.
Yeah, it's. I mean, on Wikipedia, it describes that Forsyth needs to be allowed to repay his long-standing debt, which they will slaughter all the prisoners until he can kill the warden. I'm guessing, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense there. Um, it's because okay, so for the listeners who haven't seen the film, Charlie Forsythe was the guy who was back in the 60s. Lane Smith's character, the warden, was just a guard then. He killed an inmate. He blamed it on Charlie Forsythe. He strong-armed Croesus, one of the inmates, to bear false witness against Charlie Forsythe. And in exchange, he then pulled some strings so that Croesus could have a happier time in prison. Still in prison, but like at the minimum security places, getting moved around a lot here and there. And so now, 23 years later, Sharp is a warden. He's been brought back to this prison that has been closed down for a long time, awakening the... Oh yeah, because
they have to knock the wall down.
Yeah, they knock the wall down because that's where the execution chamber is, and he's like
an atom bomb?
He's an old school prison warden who wants to keep the threat of death on his inmates, when I don't think death row is like on the cards for this prison.
No.
He wants to open up the execution chamber anyway, and which brings out the spirit of Charlie Forsythe, who then starts killing people by transforming an underground cell into an oven, melting and burning alive the guy inside it in a horrific sequence that I adored. And then
face melting.
Yeah. Who, like, that guy had done nothing wrong. We don't know, obviously he was in prison for something, but he was caught up in the guy he was handcuffed to.
Yeah, Rabbit got him dirty on that one.
Yes, Tom Everett plays Rabbit, who he tried to escape immediately before he was off the bus in the yard. He takes control of the bus, but he's handcuffed to Hershey, to Larry Jenkins. And so they both get sent to the hole for 6 months. 6 months in the hole.
And no letters for anybody for 6 months. It's crazy.
Oh dear. That's a long time. That's half a year. Ridiculous.
And then he burns all the bed. Lane Smith, I keep wanting to say Kurtwood Smith, but yeah, Lane Smith.
I mean, I think they have kind of similar. I think you can move either of those actors into the other one's career and it'll still work. Yeah, Lane Smith and Kurtwood Smith.
Who would have been better in Son-in-Law, Kurtwood Smith or Lane Smith?
I mean, I haven't seen Son-in-Law.
Oh.
So, I'm gonna say they should both be in it playing brothers and just share every scene.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Just the two of them on a farm,
yeah,
hanging out.
That's the one with Carla Gugino.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's as much as I know. End of list.
But the plot, you're right though, because it's just a red herring that Viggo looks like Forsythe, because it's not one of those where it was him the whole time. You know, like
Nope, he was just there.
Yeah, he's just a dude who got caught stealing cars, and then he rescues a guy, and then he's just sort of the hero of it. And then he hangs out with Chelsea Field while an Electro-Zombie destroys Lane Smith.
Yeah, I felt like they were trying to hint at a romance between probably a studio note of the lead male and female should be attractive and fancy each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of scenes, you know, after he saves Rabbit from the oven, a couple of scenes where they just share a glance, and then she helps at the end with the escape. So we'll probably believe like in Prison 2, they're on the run. Or something. Prison 2, on the run.
How are you going to explain any of this?
Well,
wait.
The rest of the prisoners are still in there.
Yeah, they're still in there, right?
It's only Viggo Mortensen and Chelsea Field who get out. Everyone else is still there.
So Electro-Zombie is Electro-Zombie's done, correct? Electro-Zombie got his revenge.
Yes.
Okay. By popping out of the ground on the chair, which looks like a throne, from an area that I don't think was the actual room. Do you? It just popped from the ground.
I mean, it's definitely underground where the room is, but if it is the actual place, that's some great coincidence that's exactly where the warden happened to be, and the spirit is just waiting for the warden to drive over the top of it.
What's gonna happen to these prisoners?
I mean, for all we know, they're all dead.
Yeah, because no one tells us.
The last we see of them is all of the ones that we know character-wise are dead, because the last two, they're kind of the guy who I wrote down my notes is Randy Quaid, because he looks like Randy Quaid. The guy who's like the older rapist guy, who has a real terrible air to him. He gets speared with a pickaxe through the door, and Joe Lasagna is his character name, who we'll get into him in a minute. He's been gunned down with a hail of magic electric zombie gunfire, and the rapey guy's ward barricades the door, won't let him in, and then that's the last we see. So they're barricaded inside the prison. The zombie's just going to run through them all, electrocute them all, or do whatever he wants, and just that's it. They're all dead.
Man,
every character dies apart from Viggo Mortensen and Chelsea Field.
So Lasagna and Tiny got off easy.
Yeah. Tiny gets shot in the chest point blank with a shotgun for trying to mediate the situation. Lasagna gets gunned down.
I've watched it 3 times, and I keep hoping that cop will drop the gun.
It's so sad that Tiny goes out that way. Yeah.
He and Lasagna become buds. Like, Lasagna's kind of like putting his arm on him and like slapping him on the chest, and like they're just sort of hanging out.
Yeah, they're doing arm wrestles in the cell. They start off like quite against each other. Like, it's sitting there is bad for your health, says Tony to Joe. He's sitting on the bottom bunk. But yeah, so Joe Lasagna, he looks like John Travolta in Grease. He's got that same kind of air about him, same kind of hairstyle. But he adores Stallone. He's got a poster of First Blood on his wall, and I was like, "Oh, Renny Harlin, we're going to direct Stallone in Cliffhanger. This is great." But this guy is so into Stallone that when the guy's doing one of the guards is doing a roll call in the blackout, his response instead of saying "Yes, I'm here" is "Yo, Adrian."
There's always one of those guys.
Yeah.
Oh
he
man.
makes some choices.
I mean, but you know what though? At least Lasagna, like, he has a character.
I liked him a lot.
Yeah. There are strong characters in this movie. You do, the cop that gets barbed wired. That guy, he wouldn't rescue. Lasagna would have died. No, Rabbit would have died had Viggo not jumped in. Like, you have despicable villains. You have an Electro-Zombie, and you have several characters who you remember their names. That's.
Yeah. Well, the guy that gets barbed wired is Ted's dad in Bill and Ted.
Oh.
Is Hal Landon Jr. plays Captain Logan.
How did they get so many people for this movie?
I mean, they got a lot of people early in their career.
Yeah.
So I imagine that when it was made, there weren't a lot of like names amongst the cast. Like prior to this, Viggo had done scroll. This is Viggo's 5th or 6th job ever, including like one episode of Miami Vice, an episode of ABC After School Special. He's got a very small role in Witness that I had forgotten about.
Yeah,
that's like his first film. Prison is basically his second film. So, I mean, was it like a coming out party for him? Is this? I mean, 3 years later, he's in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
And Young Guns.
And Young Guns 2. Yeah.
And also, too, the guy who plays Hershey in this movie, I don't know if you remember this, but let's see, his name's Larry Flash Jenkins. He plays the guy in the car. He's the attendant's co-pilot in Ferris Bueller when they're driving.
I do. Yeah, I see that now.
That makes me very... And he's in Fletch, too.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, how they shipped all these people out to Wyoming. And also what I love, too, this movie came out in 87. In 1988, Destroyer comes out. And sorry if I'm being redundant and you know this, but I'm going to read you the synopsis.
I don't know what Destroyer is.
So Destroyer, 1988. It's free on Tubi. An electrocuted murderer stalks the writer, stunt woman, and cast on the set of Death House Dolls. So it's a murderer who got electrocuted, starts stalking people. Then in 1989, you have The Horror Show. An executed killer haunts the house where a policeman, Lance Hendrickson, lives with his wife and children. Then Shocker in 1989. After being captured for a series of gruesome murders, Horace Pinker, a television repairman, faces execution by the electric chair, but a deal with the devil allows him to come back as electricity. Once he changes into his new form, Pinker goes after the detective that brought him to justice. So you have 4 movies in the span of 2 years about killers who are electrocuted and come back. But Renny was first.
Yeah. that's. I mean, you get a lot of copycats in Hollywood, I guess, and but that seems very specific.
But it was right. Like, what was? It was a hot fad there for a while.
Yeah, we got to have these dead prisoners returning to electrocute people. We got to have it. The kids will love it.
None of them have an Electro-Zombie, though.
None of them are as good as prison.
Yeah, I doubt it. Prison's so scrappy, man, and it's just. I love movies like this that are just scrappy. You can feel the sweat on everybody. You know, you feel like someone's gonna get tetanus while shooting this movie.
Well, there is a lot of barbed wire. Like Viggo has to climb a barbed wire rope at the end of the film, which talk about uncomfortable.
And fencing plays a very important part, like Deep Blue Sea does.
Yeah, it's true. Didn't think about
that. I have that in my notes. I was like, hey, fencing plays an important part.
He has to climb the barbed wire rope, and then he has to like turn a handle at the top with his like bloodied, cut up hands. Oh my god. Ugh.
And why would people call forth a demon? Like, hey, come to me, and then you get a hole blown through your chest. Never summon electro demons.
Yeah. We haven't mentioned that character. Yeah, Sandor. He's the religious character who's summoning some, I think, a Ghana spirit.
I mean, he knows it's the boogeyman.
Yeah, he's trying to rid them of the evil, is what he says. So he's bringing like another spirit in, he's swallowed the spider.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
But I mean, it might not help because maybe they're going to need a third prisoner to summon some other kind of demon to deal with the second one, and until the old woman needs a horse.
Yeah, my bad about that. It's completely flaked. But yeah, I remember him doing this, and then I was kind of like, what's happening? Is he summoning something else to battle this? Like, imagine that movie.
It turns into Crank 2 with just two giant creatures killing each other.
Two Electro-Zombies just wiping each other out. Yeah. And then they go to Gainesville, Florida, and just go to war. Oh, man.
Writes itself.
But then he gets a hole blown through his chest.
Yes, that was unpleasant. And then we don't see him again, so that presumably is the end of Sandor.
Oh, yeah. Sandor's not coming back. But I love that scene. Oh, my gosh. Just, so, how would you rank the deaths in this? You have the melting death, the long, like, drawn out ones, right? You have the melting death.
So there's the oven, there's the pipes for rabbit up in the ceiling, there's the barbed wire. That's the 3 kind of set piece deaths aside from the at the end when like everyone dies. So of those 3, I think. I mean, I love the barbed wire one. It's so Harlin-esque convoluted of everything involved in it. So that's my number 1. I think I'd go reverse order. So I think I'd go barbed wire, then pipes, and the oven, because the oven is just it's just heating up, just getting really hot in there. It's the first Roman escape room. Basically, and there's nothing they can really do about it. It just I love the guy. Like, the look of the guy as he's melting is great.
Oh gosh, that's beautiful 80s practical effects.
Yeah,
I remember when I was watching the barbed wire death, I wrote axe, light, dripping water, blue light, wire, door, Playboy, and then I have lamp circled, and I love how Sharp pulls a lamp out and he's just ready to do battle with it. That makes me so happy. I love that scene.
So I'm just watching the guy catching fire again in the oven. It's great. That's going to be in the image for this episode. It's just his burning head.
You know what sucks? I wanted to buy this Blu-ray. So this is kind of annoying because I've been, I pulled up a bunch of Renny Harlin interviews about this movie when this movie was released by Shout/Scream Factory, and I don't know if it received a UK release, but in the States they released it. But this was a few years ago. And so I went to buy it because I like to buy movies with Renny Harlin commentaries, but it's $80. Oof. So I was like, I think the next cheapest one was $60, and I was like, listen, I love Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I love Renny Harlin. I always love coming prepared. So I had to hunt down all these
No.
tertiary interviews with him, but there's just not much out there about this movie. This is more of like, I love hearing Renny talk though, and learning more about his story and how he just showed up and knocked on doors, like with a videotape in his hands, and then he somehow made it, and then he had a wedding with Gina Davis with hot air balloons and stuff. Like, he's just this kid who came over from Finland with next to nothing, and then makes it gigantically and just becomes like one of the biggest directors on the planet. It makes me happy. Like, I don't know, he seems like a guy he just put the time in, put his head down, didn't know any better, and just found some success. And just learning about that, and how on this movie he's like, yeah, I didn't really understand like what I was doing. I just had to kind of rely on my crew, and we only had like 35 days. We didn't have enough extras because it was in Wyoming. Like, we couldn't find many people.
I said they say there's supposed to be 300 prisoners.
No.
There are not 300 prisoners.
Mm-mm.
There's, I would say, maybe 80, which, isn't nothing, but isn't 300.
Yeah, that's not bad for finding extras. And it would have been fun. I remember one time I did a commercial where I had to make a church look packed, but I think I only had 25 people. So I had to stagger them in like weird ways, and then we had to move the camera to make it look like the place was packed.
It's a lot of shooting into corners.
Yeah, exactly. And like moving people around. So that would have been fun to make it look like 350 people. Or like, 40 to 80 people were 350. That's a fun challenge. But yeah. I just, I kind of admire Harlin. He came over here, didn't know anybody. Like, I was reading this How Did This Get Made story, and he left a videotape off at someone's office, and he maxed out all of his credit cards, and I guess he left a VHS tape at someone's office, and the secretary goes to the producer. She's like, I don't know, like, they were just two Finnish kids. Like, that's what they said. Like, I'm not quite sure who they were, but like, I don't know who they were, but they were the two kids from Finland here yesterday. I don't really know what it is, but they left their phone number. This makes me happy. Like, these two Finnish guys just showing up, dropping off tapes everywhere, and someone's like, "Yeah, these two guys from Finland came by," and that's how he got born American. Just makes me very happy.
Just go knock on doors. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Listen, I know I achieved 1/1,000,000th the fame of Renny Harlin, but when I first got into the film industry, I didn't know any better. I would walk on the film sets, which you're not supposed to do, and hand off my resume. I'm pretty sure they ripped it up, but I would walk into production studios, I would walk in everywhere and be like, hey, you guys hiring? They're like, no. And I'm like, all right, well, here's my resume just in case. Yeah. And I would just go visit places. And it's like,
you're in shock.
I would walk just into base camps, saunter in, hand out my resumes, and then no one would ever call me. But I didn't know any better. Like, I just called production managers. I just emailed them once a month with updates and everything. So just hearing how he did that. I'm not comparing myself to him because, I mean, this guy made like $150 million movies, but I appreciate the hustle. And I think I like him more after diving into the research of this movie. I love it.
Yeah, it's similar to Robert Rodriguez, isn't it? Just kind of doing everything you can to get the film made. But where I feel like Harlin is almost forgotten as a director these days, which is a shame because we love him on this podcast, and everyone should too. Whereas Rodriguez, he kind of drifted off into making children's films, which I love kids' films. I haven't seen any of his. I haven't seen any of the did he do Sharkboy and Lava Girl?
Yeah, he did that. Which
is on the list for potential coverage on this podcast in the future because it's about a shark. It's on the long list rather than the short list. But I think Rodriguez maybe has more cult classics to his name, with like the Desperado trilogy and the vampire one whose name I've forgotten at the moment.
Oh, From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's the one. I love that film. Whereas Renny Harlin, he's got Deep Blue Sea, he's got Cliffhanger, he's got Die Hard 2, he's got Long Kiss Goodnight. But that's kind of his great list, is those four. Mm-hmm. Other than that, he's kind of like an also-ran director, which is a shame because he's better than that. as we're proving on this show.
And it's tough for Renny because I think Robert Rodriguez succeeded because I'm looking at his credits right now. So Spy Kids made almost $200 million worldwide on probably like a $20 million budget. But on Spy Kids 3D, it made $168 million. But Robert Rodriguez is a director, screenwriter, producer, editor, composer, director of photography, visual effects supervisor, re-recording mixer, and music producer. So he went off on his own and made his own kind of films. And then he started his own network. And I think he was just able to make a bunch of money and then just keep making movies that he wanted to make, if that makes sense. He wasn't reliant on producers getting him money to make a movie because, Renny Harlin depends on producers. He doesn't really write too much of his own material. He'll maybe do a rewrite. But I think Robert Rodriguez is a DIY person who... Yeah. Does that make sense? And he's been able to just keep plugging along in Texas. So I think Renny is just more of a... I guess he was just a director for hire there for a while, but he still makes good films.
I feel like Renny is more of a team player in that he's willing to have more of a team around him to help make the film, whereas Robert Rodriguez is maybe more of a control... Not free, like maybe has some control issues where he wants to do everything himself, including... use his body for medical testing to get money to make a film, which is not what people should do. You should go to somebody else and ask them to finance your film instead of sell your body for parts.
I love that story. I bought his book, Rebel Without a Crew.
Yeah.
Growing up, I was obsessed with. I would read all his books. I read all of Kevin Smith's books growing up. I stopped reading Kevin Smith's books when I was living in Korea. And I read one of Kevin Smith's books where he's talking about eating fast food, and I hadn't eaten. Oh, this is a gross story, but I went and ate fast food, and it wasn't great results because of Kevin Smith. So I was like, I'm gonna stop reading his books.
I'm not gonna take this guy's advice. I got food poisoning.
Yeah, exactly. But also, I signed on the day that we signed on our house was the day I went and watched Tusk. So it's weird. Like there's a weird connection to that movie Tusk that I'll always be associated with. Like I bought my first house. And I watched Tusk in the same day.
Yeah, a film we will never cover on this show. A film I will never see. Tusk.
I wish it goes there, Jay.
I am well aware of where it goes, and I'm happy for it to have gone there. Never want to see it.
I just want to say something. I watched it, and there's a really unnecessary speech in it, and I was like, he wrote this the night before. I was like, he just liked this. He liked the actress, and he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna write this now. I'm going to write this the night. And then on the commentary, he's like, yeah, I wrote this the night before and I gave it to her. I was like, yeah, I knew it. Just wanted to let you know. I patted myself on the back for a very obscure and unimportant fact, Jay.
Well done.
Yeah. What are your favorite, we've talked about a lot of these other, I think we've covered the kills, we've talked about the characters, but what are, you said you really enjoyed watching this movie. Like, what are some of the other elements that you really dug about it?
Well, it's every time Lane Smith's on screen, like he keeps having these nightmares about Charlie Forsyth. Even before the room has been opened, he's like he wakes up with his sheets strangling him, which is a very active night's sleep. Because in that dream, I think he's in the position of a man being killed, so he wakes up as though he's being killed. So that's fun, and just how blatantly sexist and he's not subtle at all in everything he does. Like when Chelsea Field's character, when Catherine arrives, she's there to kind of oversee the prisoners doing their more extracurricular activities, which he describes as window dressing, and how he always appreciates other opinions, and a woman's opinion will be interesting. Is how he describes it. It's like, this guy, I love this guy. He's terrible.
And he's like, what's interesting? He's terrible, but he's also haunted. So it's this weird. It's a weird thing with him too, because he's, sometimes you have these terrible characters that are just like, I'm evil, ha ha ha. But then you have him in this movie having night sweats and getting choked by sheets and just being terrible to everybody, but he's also wildly haunted by things.
Yeah, so he is the bad guy of the film, but there is also this electric zombie out to kill everyone, including the more innocent people in the film's narrative. And it's like, so do we never root for Lane Smith's character. He's always the bad guy, but also he is kind of being haunted by this electric zombie.
And he's in a constant state of stress too. I just love watching him sweat. Like, it's just fun watching him kind of just freak out. And I kind of love too how when Rabbit dies, I mean, he gets covered by all these cables, and then he falls through the ceiling, and then they're like,
during the breakfast, yeah.
They're like, who killed him? And it's, yeah.
But it's such a messy death.
Yeah.
Like that, because he's been, like I said, he was trying to escape, he got trapped in, all the pipes and wires started closing in around him, so he couldn't move, and then he gets like stabbed through the head with a pipe. And then, the next day he's dropped from this like a double or triple story ceiling onto a table in the mess hall that people are eating on, and it's just nothing left of him. He's like liquefied on the way down. I think it's incredible.
And then, he's like, who did this? And
like, clearly a spiritual entity. This is no man did this.
Yeah, you look at that and you're just thinking like, I have 5 to 10 tenors here. Like, I don't have any Hannibal Lecters in this place. So it's
this is a place. This is like car thieves are in this prison. This is like Buffalo Bill is not here.
And then I was like, what do you like? Why are these the prisoners' faults? It just I don't know. I had a good laugh with that because I also love too when I love the opening line when not the opening line where Chelsea feels like what an atomic bomb, like you're trying to knock that thing open with an atomic bomb. That's a good line. There's some decent lines.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense because when they open when they take pickaxes to the wall to open up the chamber, it's like a shaft of blue light, which I'm going through this looking at how deep and how blue it is. When we get shafts of blue light, I'm ecstatic. That like this is my face just lights up. And like it sends reverberations around the whole prison. Of it's like there's oven doors flapping open. There's fire everywhere. It's not subtle. It's like something is going on here. But then when Viggo goes in and saves Rabbit from his oven cell, and the prisoners all the next day are like giving him a bit more respect. One of the guys tries to recruit him. It doesn't go well. That's the give me my ball back, I'll give you back yours.
Yeah.
line, great line. But the warden comes out and direct quote: "Stupidity never has impressed me. Why should a short-term con risk his life to save a vermin like Rabbit? This stunt won't get you any play with the parole board."
Yeah.
So he's annoyed that a prisoner saved the life of another prisoner, which would have resulted in so much more paperwork. Like, he'd already had one death.
Yeah.
2.
Like, how do you explain a melting? Like,
there's a river of lava under the prison or something. Overheated somehow. It melted his shoes to the floor. My God.
I just love that he's so annoyed that he's just so annoyed. Yeah, that he thinks Viggo did that to like get a lesser term. It's
he's just saving a life. That's all he was doing. He's just saving a life.
What did you think about Viggo in this movie? I read a review where people said that he's trying to do like a James Dean type thing, a very understated, too cool for this. Like, what did you think?
I can see that. Well, going through the film, I thought he was some kind of reincarnation of this 60s guy, which would make sense of his performance, where he is just kind of stoic, he's a bit quiet, he's very James Dean, he's just kind of cool. So has he come out of the 60s and he's now just appeared in 87 in this prison? And he's like, when the film ends, is he going to go back to the 60s, or is he going to drift off into the ether kind of thing? But he just seems to be a guy who looks like this guy who died 23 years ago. But I liked his performance. There's one moment towards the end when he breaks out of his cell and there's a computer screen that's glowing, and he gives this really intense stare, like almost direct into the camera at the screen, and it made me laugh a little bit. And during his escape, he's in the underground cell. He's in the hole with the water. There's just water in the corridor outside their cells. Never explained. It's just there. No one's doing anything about it. The guards are wandering around in shoes in water. Fine, but he breaks out of a cell. One of the guards kind of is looking around like, what's going on? And then there's just this flying punch from a screen.
Yeah.
Comes out of nowhere. It's like an Edgar Wright movie. It's where it's always funny like how things appear on screen in Edgar Wright films, and it's just this punch appears from nowhere.
Oh, it's beautiful. This movie's 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think? What would you give it? Like, so 40% of critics like it. On IMDb, what would you rate this movie?
On IMDb, so if I was rating this out of 10, I would give this 6 or 7, I would say. I mean, it's a lot of, well, no, yeah, I think I'll go 7 or 8. I really enjoyed it. It's not, it kind of loses its way towards the end. I would have liked a little bit more of a narrative wrap up as to what the hell is going on here. But that's the only real downside to it. Everything else is great. It just kind of loses the plot story wise. What about you?
Oh yeah, I would give it a 7. Why not? Just because of ingenuity. Like, I'm reading this interview right now, and Renny says we really didn't think. I'm not reading it right now, but we really didn't think about how difficult the gags were going to be when we were working on the script. So thankfully, when we came to everyone with these really crazy setups, no one seemed to flinch. So our production team had a great can-do attitude. He's like, we were literally inventing things to pull off the gags as we went along. Like, for the barbed wire scene, they shot it in reverse, which worked really well. And he put, for the Inferno cell scene, where we see the cell pretty much heat up and melt around Rabbit, we built a set of opaque plastic, and put glue all over the floor, set off a smoke machine, and just kicked the lights way up, which really sold it. Like, that's beautiful,
And
right?
it looks great. It
Yeah.
looks like he's trapped in a cell turning into an oven. So that's fantastic.
And I love too, is like, this movie was trial and error, but we didn't have time to go back and fix anything. So we always had to hope. It worked as well as we thought it did. Thankfully, in most cases, it did. But yeah, it's just them going, please work. Please, please work. We don't have time for this again. But yeah, I mean, you know what's interesting? They must have shot the actors very quickly, because I'd imagine the barbed wire scene, the melting scene, and the when Rabbit, like the stop motion when Rabbit's getting killed, that's got to be 2 weeks, especially the barbed wire scene. That must have taken forever. So they must have rushed their actors. I mean, that's probably why they just put them in underwear a lot, because they didn't have to get them dressed.
And it helps that they will have like one costume for the film, which
Yeah.
again, all blue. Everyone's wearing blue in this film. Love it.
Yes.
Even when they show up on the buses, there's a lot of denim. There's so much denim.
Oh, beautiful. And so yeah, like, you have the denim outfits, then you just stuff them in underwear. Like, that's easy to dress them, and then you just rely. Like, this movie was based around the gags. Like, everything else, everything is so loose around this movie, Jay. It's like, why even have Viggo Mortensen in this movie? Like, why? What?
Yeah. It's it feels like Lane Smith should be the lead,
Yeah.
but then he's such an unlikable character that he can't be. You need to have someone else to focus on and to root for.
And then just a straight up, like, red herring. It's so odd, and it's absolutely beautiful. But that's what I love about this. Like, I'm so happy that we've covered these movies, because I had never watched this before. So I'm glad I did. I feel like my life is better now, Jay.
Yeah, I kind of gave you a list of here's what Harlan films you haven't covered yet. Which ones do you want to talk? And you're like, Prison. So like, yeah, great. I haven't got to find somebody to watch this completely unknown film.
I love it.
Talks about.
Yeah, but
it
like,
should be talked about more. It's great.
to understand Harlan, well, the company that was supposed to distribute it went bankrupt.
Yeah.
And so
This film. It made nothing. It cost. Like, Wikipedia says it cost $1 to $4 million, and it made 354,000. So that's a definite loss.
Yeah, Harlan said he walked around with a video cassette and just showed everybody he could the movie. He's like, watch this, hey, watch this, and that got him Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
So I'm gonna point friend of the show, Todd Liebenau, towards this film, because he likes to cover these kind of things on his podcast, Forgotten Films. This is exactly the kind of thing that should be covered over there.
Oh, it's a beaut. I did Night Riders with him, and that's a kind of forgotten Romero film.
Yeah, I did the John Cleese film Clockwise. I was on to talk about, because no one's heard about Clockwise. But I got a free DVD from a newspaper as a kid. Watched it, loved it. It's great. And went on there, and then I did that animated Lord of the Rings film.
Oh,
the one with Anthony Daniels as Legolas in it. Because the Ralph Bakshi one, because that's kind of forgotten about. I've been on there a few times. I can't remember what other films I talked about.
I thought Tremors with Todd.
Yes, on your show, yeah. And then we talked Tremors with Heather recently on this show. Yeah.
500 times she's watched that movie.
At least. I mean, that was then. It's been a few weeks. Maybe it's more since then. She's up to 550 at this point.
I loved hearing her talk about ass blasters and hearing her talk about shriekers. And then I'm such a Tremors nerd. She was like, yeah, like the second one has the ass blasters. I'm like, no, they're the shriekers. And then she corrected herself later on. I was like, oh, okay, good.
When you get Heather talking about a film or a franchise that she loves, she could do it all day, and I could listen to it all day.
Yeah, she's great. I love that. I loved hearing about that. It made me happy. It was a really fun listen.
Yeah, she recently guest hosted a movie of the month for the Lambcast, which was on the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Ooh.
And it's a long episode, but it's not long enough. I could have listened to that all day.
Yeah. She's a beast. She's the best.
She's great.
Also, Tremors is a dang near perfect movie.
It is. I recommended it to someone at work the other day. I was like, he needs a film to watch. And I was like, Tremors is on Netflix today. Go watch Tremors. And he was like, oh, Kevin Bacon. I don't like Kevin Bacon. He's always a bad guy. I was like, well, in Tremors, he's not a bad guy. It's great. But they've really tried to fight me on watching this film they'd never heard of. And I really hope they watched it.
It's such a tight script. In the beginning, he's on the cliff, and then like at the end of the film, it flies off the cliff. Like that's where he's peeing. Like it's
such an easy to watch film. It's just you put it on and you enjoy yourself.
Very interesting synthesis, and I feel like it all comes together really nicely. I mean, amazing special effects team. I don't know if you've seen the miniatures. If you've watched,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have the Arrow Blu-ray. There's a new documentary on there I gotta watch. So.
Yeah. So I've just got DVD, and there's a bunch of stuff on YouTube as well. It's all great stuff.
All right. So how blue is this?
Okay. So as everyone knows, Deep Blue Sea is 14.5 meters or 47.5 feet deep, 31% blue. Mark, do you think Prison is deeper and or bluer than Deep Blue Sea?
We said there's a lot of blue outfits. It's not deeper.
It is not deeper. That is correct.
It might be one of the highest.
It is. Well, it's not.
Oh.
I mean, saying that, is it? We've got a lot of higher films. This film ends up being basically ground level, about 0.8 meters up in the air. So
no one goes to
3
space,
feet.
so that kind of...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no space. But the scenes in the hole are underground.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's numerous of those, but then there's a lot of stuff up on the ground or up in one level or two levels up. So it works out about 0.8 meters up in the air. Blueness-wise, it is 41.5% blue. This is a lot bluer than I thought it would be. This is the bluest land-based film so far.
Wow.
This film is bluer than Deep Blue Sea, bluer than Deep Blue Sea 2, bluer than The Abyss, Piranha 3D, Swim Fan, Deep Blue Sea 3. It's bluer than all of these films. Because of all that blue light. And all the scenes at night are completely blue. A lot of the scenes in the hole or in the dream sequences, there's this real deep blue tinge to them. So much denim, all the blue uniforms, all the blue light emerging from whenever anything supernatural is going on. So a lot bluer than expected. It is just 0.06% more blue than Deep Blue Sea 3.
Wow.
Yeah, the next bluest land-based film, I would say, is Mindhunters, which is about 20% blue. So another Harlin. Another surprisingly blue film. Like Mindhunters is bluer than Bait.
Ooh. I love Mindhunters. What a...
Yeah.
You know, I released that as a special episode on MFF just so people could listen to it, and it just keeps getting listens. And I think people just need to realize that Mindhunters is a good movie.
That's another film I'd never heard of until we covered it. And we had Lindsay on recently to talk about Ghost Ship.
Oh, I was about to say, I can't wait for that.
We kept on comparing it to Mindhunters because she was the guest for that episode. So.
I cannot wait to hear that.
That was a fun episode. Written, of course, by our good friend John Pogue from Deep Blue Sea 3.
Oh, we should share that episode, see if he bites. Hey, John.
I should.
And then
it wasn't until we were about to record it that I kind of remembered. Oh, wait, John Pogue wrote this. Otherwise, I would have seen if he wanted to be the guest on the episode.
That'd be. But yeah, no, this was. I love these stats. And sorry I made you mess up the episode by talking about all the Deep Blue Sea adjacent stuff. But it's just so clear. It's so out there, and it's so wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, you can draw a direct line from this to Deep Blue Sea via Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Like, the deaths in here, Freddy Krueger could easily be behind any of these deaths. They're supernatural in such special ways.
And then Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Freddy uses his glove as a shark glove, as a shark. It's like a shark fin, but a Freddy glove. So everything built to Deep Blue Sea.
And that's a year later. So we haven't covered that on the show yet, but we will. We're kind of expanding this out to be like films I have seen elsewhere now. So we will cover Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Wait, have you seen The Devil's Pass yet?
Not yet, no.
Oh, well, I should do ones you haven't done.
Well, yeah, we should. I mean, so still to go from his direction, we've Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Die Hard 2, Long Kiss Goodnight, Driven. I haven't seen Driven. I've got the DVD of Driven. I went for a run and picked that up. I've got that.
Yes.
Exorcist: The Beginning, we haven't covered, and nobody wants to, but we will. Cleaner, haven't done yet. 5 Days of War.
Cleaner's on Netflix now.
Nice. Legend of Hercules. We've done Skip Trace. Legend of the Ancient Sword, Bodies at Rest, and Reunion 3, Singles Cruise. We haven't done that one yet.
Well, I'll just take whatever people don't want. How's that sound?
Yeah, all right. I think you're scheduled for Hercules at some point.
Yeah, Scott Adkins.
Yeah, couldn't possibly do that without you.
And I own that.
Nice. It's on Netflix, so that's fine.
I need that commentary.
That'll be the next time you're on will be to talk about Hercules.
Yes.
Who knows?
Scott Adkins is the villain.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well,
okay.
This was good.
Yeah. What have you got to plug?
Movies, Films, Flicks. Movies, Films, and FLIX. Let's see. And then just, check out my Film Theory stuff. I just wrote a crazy video about Encanto that involves inbreeding.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, check those out.
Nice. Listeners, you can follow the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Deep Blue Sea Pod. Listen to me once a month over on the Lambcast, hosting Lampley, the movie trivia version of Jeopardy. That's always a lot of fun. And find more of my writing over at lifeasafilm.com, where, as promised, post our 100th episode on Shark Night, there you can find the lyrics to Sharkbite are off on my site. The only place on the internet you can find the lyrics to Sharkbite. The claim to fame of my little personal site, Life vs. Film. And that's about all I have to plug. Next week, all being well, we'll be covering Lifeboat, the Hitchcock film on a boat, which a black and white film. It's going to be the easiest film so far to work out how blue it is. Very, very easy to determine how blue. Spoiler alert, 0. Looking forward to that spreadsheet entry. But as for today, as for present, thank you for joining me, Mark.
Hey, this was great. Thank you for having me.
I've been Jake Lowe, and I'll Deep Blue see you next week.